Throughout his career, LeBron James has encountered many moments to remember. Some moments you may know, some you may not. And in this video, we'll be going over some things you didn't know about LeBron James. But before we do that, subscribe to the channel and drop a like. Let's get into it. Let's start off with the people that changed LeBron James's life. I'm talking about his two football coaches. LeBron's mom, Gloria James, was 16 years old when she had her only child. And when her mother died just a couple of years later, she and baby LeBron lost their entire support system. Just tragic. They spent 6 or so years bouncing around between couches and apartments in Akron's projects. Then, Frank Walker offered to let LeBron move in with his family. I mean, that's a pretty big change for any household. Little did they know who he would become. After missing 80-something days of the 4th grade because of their chaotic living arrangements, and LeBron didn't have the means to go back and forth to school, mainly he would just play video games and sports instead of going to class. But he made up for it because the next year in 5th grade, he didn't miss a single day. So good for him. Now fast forward from 5th grade to a high school junior. That's when LeBron James made the cover of Sports Illustrated. In February of 2002, just shortly after turning 17 years old, the pride of the St. Vincent St. Mary High School was anointed the chosen one in a now iconic Sports Illustrated cover story. I mean, it was so big that LeBron went on to get a chosen one tattooed across his back. And the tattoo artist may have messed up a little. I personally think it could have looked a lot better. But still, he was the chosen one. And if the league would have allowed it, James would have entered the NBA draft that same year as a 17-year-old. But draft eligibility hinged on graduating high school. So LeBron finished his senior year with his high school team, nicknamed the Fighting Irish. And that team was pretty good. I mean, of course, they had LeBron James. They won their 3rd Division II championship, and the hype around LeBron and his teammates meant they traveled for high-ranking games that were aired on ESPN2. Yes, ESPN2 was putting on LeBron's high school games. Time Warner even offered to pay their games on pay-per-view. Keep in mind, LeBron was only 17. I mean, it makes no sense. Now, LeBron didn't only play basketball. As mentioned before, he played football. And when he was a kid, the two football coaches are the ones that changed his life. LeBron played both football and basketball through middle school and high school, and some have speculated that he could have gone pro with football. He's 6'8" and 250 pounds. I'm sure he'd easily be able to play football. But in June of 2002, just before his senior year, he broke his wrist during an AAU game. And because of the 2-month recovery time, LeBron decided that he needed to forego football season so that he'd be fully healed for his senior basketball season. And I think it's safe to say he made the right choice. But now I really wonder, how good would he have been in the NFL? But he did choose the right sport because basketball does pay a lot more than the NFL. But believe it or not, LeBron wasn't the highest paid player on his own team until age 31. Remember, he got drafted at age 18. So that's 13 years of not being the highest paid player, even though he was clearly the best. It's crazy. LeBron was the NBA's highest paid player in the 2016-2017 season. He was surrounded by a number of league veterans during his first stint with the Cavaliers, including an aging and injured Shaquille O'Neal. And LeBron famously agreed to take less than his full market value in order to form a super team with the Miami Heat in 2010. I mean, he had to sacrifice. If you want Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh on your team, you can't also have all the money. You can't have everything. But LeBron does come very close. He hit the top of the pay grade during his second go-around with the Cavaliers, and his 4-year deal with the Lakers puts him on track to be one of the highest paid players ever. But he's already crossed billionaire status, so I don't think money will ever be an issue for LeBron. A lot of people think that billionaires get no sleep, but that's just not true because LeBron subscribes to a work hard, sleep hard philosophy. If you want to be the greatest of all time, you need to get plenty of rest, a whole lot of it actually. It was reported that LeBron once slept 12 hours a night, though nowadays he probably doesn't sleep that much. But a good nap never hurts. That extra shut-eye is key considering just how much mileage the man has logged in on the basketball court. As of 2019 in his 16th season, he's already the NBA's all-time leader in playoff minutes played with 10,000. That's the equivalent of 3 extra 82-game regular seasons. So yeah, I'm sure I would sleep any chance I could too. And here's something else that keeps LeBron in his health routine. Wine. Yeah, believe it or not, he said that it's good for the heart, or that's what he heard. He said, listen, I'm playing the best basketball of my life in 2018, and I'm drinking some wine pretty much every day. So yeah, I guess the key to being a superstar player is drinking wine.
Started around when I turned 30, actually. I started to just have a I wanted to learn about it. Everybody was talking about how great it is and the different regions. I started to do some research. I started tasting different wines, and it took a while for my palate to actually give in to it because it's not a, your first time drinking wine is not a very, very lasting taste.
Now going back to before his days in the NBA, he could have made another decision before the one he made in 2010 with the Heat. That decision would have been going to college. Although obviously he didn't, it wouldn't have made sense. But if he did go to university, he would have chosen Ohio State University. Although he was targeted as the #1 pick for years before being able to officially declare for the draft, LeBron admitted to having a few favorite colleges before. He declared he would have gone to Ohio State to play for the Buckeyes, which most likely would have meant they would have won a national title for the year he was in Columbus. I really wish we could have seen that. But like I said before, you can't have everything. Now here's a pretty fun fact. LeBron shoots right-handed and writes left-handed. Yeah, LeBron has worked on his jumper over the years, since it was one of his questionable skills heading into the NBA from high school. And as anyone who watches him play could tell, he shoots with his right hand. But if you were to meet LeBron for dinner somewhere, he'd be holding his fork and eating left-handed. And then he'd sign whatever you handed to him with his left hand as well. That's pretty cool. But I wonder how LeBron would play if he shot with his left hand. Now, as mentioned before, LeBron was a top recruit in high school, and even Michael Jordan wanted LeBron to attend private scrimmages in Chicago the summer before his junior year in high school. Jordan was already scouting LeBron before his junior year in high school because he knew that LeBron had talent, and he wanted to work with him privately. The two had private scrimmages where no media or journalists were allowed to attend the gym, just the two of them, and maybe some of LeBron's friends. But no cameras, because we all know how bad that could have been for either one of them. But the private scrimmages came to an end when one of LeBron's friends reportedly prank called Jordan, which made him pretty mad. That's a pretty bad friend, and I'm sure LeBron hasn't spoke to him since. But speaking of LeBron and Jordan, they're in their own category when it comes to this record. They're the only players to win a regular season MVP, NBA Finals MVP, and an Olympic gold medal in the same year. LeBron did this in 2012 after winning his first NBA title at the age of 27, and then Michael Jordan did it back in 1992 after winning his second title at the age of 29. The two have impacted the league in their own ways, and they'll go down in history as the two greatest players to ever grace the court, but LeBron is better. We all know this. Now here's probably one of the craziest things ever. LeBron tried to declare for the NBA draft after his junior year in high school. Yes, that's crazy. After his third season for St. Vincent St. Mary, LeBron petitioned to enter the draft. However, the NBA told him that he had to graduate high school. That was the only thing stopping LeBron from being a 17-year-old NBA player. That's pretty wild. Up until 2006, any player that graduated from high school could enter the NBA draft. Players like Kobe, Kevin Garnett, and Amar'e Stoudemire all entered the draft without college or international experience. But then the rule was changed in 2006, and now players need to have at least 1 year of experience with the college, international, or G League team. But imagine LeBron at 17 in the NBA. We would have got to see him go up against the old Michael Jordan. That would have been a great matchup. But with that being said, those are some things you probably didn't know about LeBron James. Comment down below your opinions, drop a like, and subscribe to Triple Double for more videos.